Making headlines, Maldives condemned the Israeli statement calling for the establishment of a Palestinian state within the territory of Saudi Arabia. Minister Tariq Ibrahim says that the expansion of waste collection and management services to Guli will help address the island's waste management challenges. And Maldives welcomes over 50,000 tourists to its show last week, tourism statistics have shown.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to PSM News in English with me, Hafiz Abdul Sattar. And now the news in detail. President Dr. Mohamed Moise congratulates the candidates of the ruling People's National Congress for securing 33 out of 37 seats in Saturday's by-election held to elect members to local councils and women's development committees, WDCs. In a social media post, the president extended his felicitations to the winning candidates and provided details of the seats won by the ruling party. He noted that 24 seats out of 37 were won by uncontested, while 9 seats were won through competitive elections, bringing the total number of seats won to 33. The PNC won one Atoll Council President seat, one Island Council President seat, as well as 2 local council seats. Additionally, 29 WDC seats were also secured by PNC. In his post, the President thanked the Almighty and congratulated the winning candidates as well as their supporters and those that participated in the vote. Deputy Speaker of the Parliament Ahmed Nazim calls for greater transparency, accountability and integrity in governance. He made the remarks while addressing the first Commonwealth Parliamentary Association CPA Asia and Southeast Asia Regional Conference. Addressing the CPA Regional Conference, Deputy Speaker Nazim highlighted the basic characteristics of good governance. He stressed the importance of transparency, accountability to the people, maintaining an independent media environment, and maintaining democratic principles, and called on member state lawmakers to adhere to such principles. Nazim added that the rising populism in political arena, the spread of misinformation and challenges to democratic principles are matters of great concern. He called for collective action to address and overcome such issues. He also highlighted the economic disparities among countries and challenges to good governance due to security threats, terrorism and international relations. The minister also spoke on the importance of strengthening the integrity of institutions, independent exchange of information and providing opportunities for dialogue, and urged to give special priorities for those sectors. The CPA Regional Conference brings together representatives of the parliaments of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association CPA member states in the region to discuss and strengthen cooperation among legislative bodies. The conference focuses on key regional and global issues. The Maldives Deputy Speaker Nazim was elected as the regional representative of the CPA for Asia at the 67th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference CPC held in Sydney, Australia. Maldives condemned the irresponsible and provocative statements made by the Prime Minister of Israel, calling for the establishment of a Palestinian state within the territory of Saudi Arabia.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu appeared to be joking on Thursday when he responded to an interviewer on a pro-Netanyahu Channel 14 who mistakenly said Saudi state instead of Palestinian state before correcting him. But his comment comes on the back of suggestions from within the Israeli government on the establishment of Palestinian state on Saudi territory. The Minister of Foreign Affairs in a statement said the Maldives rejects any statements that threaten Saudi Arabia's sovereignty, security and territorial integrity. The statement said such statements constitute a clear violation of international law and the United Nations Charter. In the statement, Maldives also reiterated its support for the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people to establish their independent state based on pre-1967 borders with East Jerusalem as its capital, and called upon the international community to take a firm stance against such provocative statements that undermine regional stability. It added that such statements not only violate the sovereignty of Saudi Arabia but also represent a continued denial of rights of the Palestinian people. Netanyahu's outrageous comment, condemned by Saudi Arabia and several other Arab states, follows the shock proposal from President Donald Trump that the US would take over the Gaza Strip from Israel and create a Riviera of the Middle East after resettling Palestinians elsewhere. Maldives, along with several other countries, had also rejected Trump's plan to displace Palestinians from their own land.
Minister of Tourism and Environment Tariq Ibrahim says that the government is determined to clear the path for stalled resort development projects rather than annulling the respective contracts with investors.
Speaking to PSM News Rajamedha program, Minister Tariq said that government has identified 68 islands leased for resort development where the respective projects have stalled. He said that some resorts have been under development for as many as 8 years. The minister said, despite long delays, the government wished to work with the respective investors and clear a path for them to resume these projects. According to Minister Tariq, the government wants to identify the challenges faced by investors in developing such islands and find solution as soon as possible, which he said was the way the country will most benefit. The minister also said the government is determined to work together with investors to develop the tourism sector in the Maldives, which he said includes easing the current process of acquiring permits and licenses for investors. According to him, one of the primary complaints of the industry is delays in getting approval for detailed designs and financial and legal permits. He said that the government is working on creating an engineering consultancy pool as an accreditation checker to expedite the process. According to him, there are currently 176 resorts in operation with another 165 currently under development. The minister said 6 more resorts are expected to open this year, adding another 1,290 beds to the industry.
Statistics shows that the Maldives welcomed over 50,000 tourists to its shores last week. According to weekly figures by the Ministry of Tourism and Environment, the globally renowned holiday destination had welcomed 55,558 tourists during the past 7 days. This marks a 5% increase from last year's figure of 52,511 tourist arrivals.
February appears to have delivered a major boost in arrivals, with a single-day arrival record set on the 1st of this month. On 1st February, 9,495 tourists had arrived in the Maldives comfortably, bypassing this year's daily average visitors of 7,000. According to the figures, 279,916 tourists visit the Maldives as of 8th February. This is an increase of 11.2% in comparison to the 251,503 tourists during the same period last year. China has continued to maintain its position as the top source market for tourists so far this year. Over 50,000 Chinese tourists have holidayed in the Maldives as of 8th February, followed by Russia in second. The figures also showed that a healthy majority of 69.7% tourists have opted to spend their holiday in resorts, followed by 25.4% in guest houses. The world-renowned tourist destination has witnessed the highest number of tourist arrivals in a single year in its 52-year tourism history. According to tourism figures, a total of 2,047,435 tourists had holidayed in the Maldives in 2024. This is a 9% increase from the 1,878,543 tourists from the 2023. This marks the first time Maldives has welcomed 2 million tourists to its shores in a calendar year. The government aims to improve tourism occupancy and bring in 15% more tourists this year than last year, while boosting tourism revenue to $5 billion.
Minister of Tourism and Environment Tariq Ibrahim assessed that the expansion of waste collection and management services to Guli Kaf Atoll by the Waste Management Corporation WEMCO will help address the island's critical waste management challenges. He made the statement at a ceremony marking the introduction of these services.
Minister Tariq Ibrahim highlighted the importance of this expansion for Guli, asserting that WEMCO's ongoing efforts to extend its services to the outer islands reflect the administration's commitment to maintaining a clean and sustainable environment. He noted the island's developing guest house tourism industry and underscored the island's potential as an emerging destination. He said that promoting and expanding tourism on Guli will be a priority in the forthcoming years. Waste management remains a critical concern for the residents of Guli. The minister assured that the introduction of WEMCO's services would systematically address these issues, thereby strengthening the island's waste management infrastructure. He elaborated on the initiative's pivotal role in safeguarding the island's natural environment, confirming that the Environment Ministry is closely collaborating with WEMCO to address waste management challenges across the nation. The minister also highlighted new initiatives that WEMCO is set to introduce.
Maldives Immigration assessed that the role of local councils in supporting the administration's endeavours to address and resolve issues concerning migrant workers is indispensable, particularly those in the outer atolls, according to Maldives Immigration. This statement comes at a time when the administration is conducting Operation Kurangi, an initiative aimed at collecting biometric data of all migrant workers, identifying undocumented individuals, and mitigating illegal business activities conducted by migrant workers.
Spearheaded by the Ministry of Homeland Security and Technology, the operation is being conducted in collaboration with Maldives Immigration and other pertinent agencies. Maldives Immigration is actively working to extend the operation to the outer atolls, including the execution of rapid operations. In the course of the expansion, Maldives Immigration has successfully conducted operations on 2 islands within the Kaf Atoll. Chief Immigration Officer Ahmad Mujtaba, in an interview with PSM News, clarified that these raids are prompted by tips received through the Immigration Watch online platform. Mujtaba underscored that raids in the outer atolls are conducted at the behest of local councils. The primary grievance from these councils, according to him, concerns migrant workers engaging in daily wage labor independently. Some islands have also reported the presence of migrant workers who have entered illegally and are performing daily wage work. Matters concerning migrant workers in the outer islands fall under the jurisdiction of the local councils according to the law. Mujtaba highlighted the necessity for local councils to vigilantly monitor the activities of migrant workers on their respective islands. He implored local councils to lend their full support and cooperation to Operation Kurangi, overseen by the Homeland Security Ministry. The operation would equip authorities to distinguish between legal and undocumented migrant workers, as well as those participating in illegal business activities. Mujtaba also underscored the critical importance of local councils in maintaining a registry of all migrant workers on their respective islands, including those who enter and exit. Maldives Immigration is currently in discussion with the Maldives Police Service (MPS), Marine Police to arrange the transportation of apprehended migrant workers from the outer atolls to the capital, Malé City. Once these logistical arrangements are finalized, the effectiveness of raid operations will be significantly enhanced.
Minister of Cities, Local Government and Public Works Adam Sharif Umar states that the Maldives membership in the Open Government Partnership OGP will enable the Maldives to seek international assistance and cooperation to strengthen the decentralization system. Speaking on the Maldives recently joining the OGP AAA member, Minister Adam Sharif said that although there are several laws in place in the Maldives, there are challenges in implementing and enforcing them. Therefore, joining an organization such as the OGP will support efforts to address such challenges by collaborating with civil society organizations to ensure integrity and good governance, while also facilitating the technical assistance needed to further enhance the decentralization system, he said. The Maldives government announced its OGP membership during the OGP Asia and Pacific regional meeting. According to the government, joining the OGP will help promote public and civil society participation, and build an environment that encourages accountability and transparency as well as good governance. The OGP meeting is attended by officials from the Ministry of Cities, Local Government and Public Works, as well as representatives from Formula and Kurudufu city councils. As part of the meeting, they observed how cities in the Philippines are operated. Trade Minister Mary Ng says that Canada wants to deepen its economic ties with the EU and uphold global trading rules in the face of threatened U.S. tariffs.
The EU and Canada have benefited from a free trade agreement since 2017, which has boosted bilateral trade by 65% and set up a raw materials partnership in 2021. NG met EU Trade Chief Maros Sefcovic for a lunch on Saturday after meeting with Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, the Director General of the World Trade Organization in Geneva, on Friday.
Since CETA is coming into force, so our trade agreement, we've seen a 65% growth between trade between Canada and the European Union. We have seen two-way foreign direct investment in the order of about $445 billion. And what we actually talked about was, what can we do better? What can we do more? Because trade agreements are one thing, and we have seen really great numbers, but what more can we be doing to help Canadian businesses enter into any of the 27 member states that's here in the European Union? What more can we do to do the same in Canada for European businesses?
She said critical minerals and smaller businesses would be among the focus areas with the EU. The EU in particular is keen to forge partnerships to secure metals that are key for energy transition, cobalt, lithium and nickel, to reduce its dependence on China. Canada is also pushing to diversify its exports and set itself a target in 2018 of increasing non-US exports by 50% by 2025. NG said the country was on track to meet or exceed the target. Canada struck trade deals with Indonesia in December and Ecuador last week and is pushing hard in the Indo-Pacific region. The minister is leading a delegation including more than 200 businesses to Australia, Singapore and Brunei next week.
We did Indonesia in December. We are at the table with the countries in Southeast Asia, so the Association of Southeast Nations. I took a very large delegation of Canadian businesses to the Philippines in December, to Indonesia, to markets like Vietnam, Malaysia, Japan, Korea. So Canadian businesses are excited to get into these markets, and they have a government that is very seized at, helping their growth into these markets. And it's really important for Canada because we are a trading country. We have always been a trading country. 1 out of 6 jobs in Canada is related to trade. 2/3 of our economy is related to trade. And when you look at markets, when you look at Canada's Indo-Pacific strategy and our commitment to grow into markets that are among the fastest growing in the world, that's what Canada has been doing, and we'll keep doing that.
Ottawa threatened retaliatory duties and legal action against the United States after President Donald Trump announced tariffs on Canada and Mexico a week ago and before he paused their imposition for 30 days. NG said Canada could challenge Washington at the WTO if tariffs were imposed.
Hamas says that the Israeli military has withdrawn from an area of Gaza known as the Netzarim corridor that bisects the enclave, a move that was expected under the ceasefire agreement between Israel and the Palestinian militant group.
An Israeli security source requesting anonymity as they were not authorized to speak publicly confirmed to Reuters that the Israeli military was withdrawing from its position in central Gaza. Israeli forces had already reduced their presence there. Hamas celebrated the withdrawal as a victory, and the Hamas-run police force deployed to the area to manage the flow of Palestinians crossing through. The Israeli military had no immediate comment. Reuters footage shows what appeared to be Israeli military vehicles moving away from the coast and towards the Israeli border. Gazans were seen traveling in a large numbers heading north on Gaza City's main Salah al-Din Street following Israel's withdrawals from the area. Vehicles on the northbound Salah al-Din Street lined up while they waited to go through an inspection at a checkpoint. Many Gazans were looking to travel back to their homes in the north, leaving the rubbles of Gaza City as seen in the background behind.
The governor of Sakhalin region in Russia's Far East says a district in the region has been put on high alert after a Chinese cargo ship Anyang 2 ran aground off the southwest coast of the Sakhalin island.
The governor, Valery Limerenko, said on the Telegram messaging app that no fuel spillage was recorded and there was no threat to the crew, but the situation required readiness for any scenario. The ship was stranded in the shallow waters of Sakhalin's Nevelsky district, he added. He said that a high alert regime has been introduced in the district. Limerenko later said that it was a Chinese ship, but marine and diving rescuers could not approach the vessel due to a strong storm. According to him, decisions on unloading the vessel or removing it from the shallows will be made as soon as the weather conditions improve. The Sakhalin's region in Russia's Far East comprises the Sakhalin's island and the chain of the Kuril Islands. Soviet troops took control of the 4 islands of Japan's Hokkaido, known in Russia as the Kurils and in Japan as the Northern Territories, at the end of the World War II, and they have remained in Moscow's hand since. The dispute has prevented the two countries from signing a peace treaty.
Arab promoter Turkey Al-Sheikh announces that Mexico's Saul Canelo Alvarez will seek the International Boxing Federation IBF super middleweight title in May against undefeated Cuban William Skull.
Al-Sheikh, who is an advisor at the Royal Court of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and chairman of the General Entertainment Authority, added that the fight will be contested in his country's capital, Riyadh. Alvarez, who has a record of 62 wins with 39 knockouts, 2 draws and 2 losses, currently holds the World Boxing Association WBA, World Boxing Council WBC, and World Boxing Organization WBO titles. Skull, who holds the IBF super middleweight title, has 23 wins with 9 knockouts. The winner of the fight will retain all 4 super middleweight titles. The fight against Skull is the first of 4 that Alvarez will hold after signing a contract with the Riyadh season. After facing Skull, the Mexican boxer will fight Terence Crawford in September in the United States. The other 2 fights will be in Saudi Arabia in 2026.
In the rugged mountains of Haraz, west of Yemen's capital Sana'a, a new wave of coffee innovation is taking hold, transforming the way farmers approach one of the country's most prized exports.
Yemeni coffee, renowned for its complex flavors and storied history, is now being elevated to new heights through an emerging technique, controlled fermentation. Rather than relying solely on traditional sun-drying, Yemeni farmers are now experimenting with a more deliberate fermentation process. After harvesting the coffee cherries, they are placed in sealed bags inside barrels, triggering a carefully monitored transformation. According to Bakr al-Nusairi, the deputy head of the coffee sector at the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, The method relies on exposing the coffee beans to rapid changes in temperature. He added that the process results in chemical reactions within the coffee cherries. Al-Nusairi said that the process does not change the flavors, it highlights the inherent notes and flavors in the coffee cherries. According to him, the process helps to clarify the flavor profiles and notes in a balanced way, even the acidity is balanced within it. As Yemeni coffee continues to captivate the global market, some innovative farmers are leading the charge to embrace new techniques to elevate a beloved tradition. Among them is Abdullah Al-Qadi, who says this new approach has paid dividends for farmers. He said that the method is the reason for the demand for this coffee in foreign markets.
And that's all we have for this hour. Thank you for watching. Wish you all a very pleasant time ahead.